We're here for the launch of the 12th edition of the World Cooperative Monitor, which is a report that is produced by the International Cooperative Alliance and Euricse, that every year collects data on the world's largest cooperatives and mutuals and provides rankings and sector information. And we're going to hear all about that later on in the program. We're really happy to have a special partnership with the ISET, which you're also going to hear about from Hans Grunwald later on. This year, we, in addition to producing the annual rankings of the top 300, we also have a special report on member benefits. And so I'm really happy to have some of our cooperative partners here to share about that. Because we had such large interest, I said it a few minutes ago, but in case you didn't hear, we had so many people RSVP for this event, which we're so thrilled about. But so we had to switch from the meeting, the Zoom regular meeting style where everybody can see everybody, to this webinar format, because otherwise people might have been left out for numbers restrictions. So we're sorry that we can't have our usual communication in the chat and we can't all see each other, but we know that you're here. We're happy to have you. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A box that's available. There's also interpretation if anybody needs it. There's interpretation in Spanish, and we're also Spanish and English, and we're also recording this session. So it will be available on the monitor.coop website and on the ICA and Euricse websites after this event. So I'm really pleased to get this kicked off, to introduce the new Director General of the International Cooperative Alliance, Jeroen Douglas. Very happy to have you with us here today, and I would love to ask you to say a few opening remarks.
So thank you so much, Ilana, for your warm welcoming words. I'd like also to thank indeed your organizers, yourselves from Euricse, Joseph, from my team, Hans, as the chair of ISET. So wonderful to allow me to draft some opening words. And indeed, I just started the 1st of January, so it feels a great honor to say some words as we are today launching indeed the 12th edition of the World Cooperative Monitor. And it does indeed provide a great list of the world's largest 300 co-ops and mutuals, including their sectors. So this World Cooperative Monitor, we all know, is an important tool. And the first time it was launched was during the United Nations International Year of Cooperatives in 2012. Purpose of the report then, and still now, is to provide a general overview of the economic importance of the cooperative business model and its impact to society. The report has been an important source of information, and over the decade, it's been cited, as I learned, and quoted by many international organizations, science centers, companies, other stakeholders, but also including the report of the UN Secretary General on cooperatives in social development. So this is a co-production indeed, as already mentioned by yourself, between the International Cooperative Alliance and Euricse. And we have been building over a very productive work collaboration over the last 12 years. And indeed, it's been a significant tool to evaluate our own positioning as cooperatives. It's also a highlight for many cooperatives to show its importance to public and policymakers around the world. It's not easy to find all those data, but it's getting better and better as I understand it. And therefore, it's also a report, one of a kind, only in its kind, offering us quantitative data that allows us to measure and also, if I may, to celebrate the successes of cooperatives worldwide. And why do we have to celebrate it? Because, of course, there are in the globe around 3 million cooperatives. They provide between 250 and 280 million jobs directly. which is equal to 10% of the entire global employed population. And the top 300 large cooperatives in the world generate some $2.4 trillion in revenue, which is not even including the numbers from China. Focused cooperative legislation in 80 countries bring also multiple billion of dollars of direct benefits to the movement. So we're talking about a very sizable movement that already exists for close to 2 centuries. The cooperative movement is not only about numbers and ranking. At the end, it's about all these farmers, workers, consumer groups, healthcare groups, energy companies, cooperative banks, cooperatives at large that are behind those numbers. It's about the farmer behind the number, and that's together building a better future. The top 300 ranking and sectoral analysis featured in this report showcase the diversity and magnitude of cooperative impact. This year's edition is in particular holding its significance on the focus of the benefits that cooperatives provide to their members and the society at large, and in the communities as well. Within the 7 principles of the COOP, this is what we call Principle 7. More comprehensively, it is described in page 51 of the report and onwards, so I invite you to read it carefully. So the cooperative model emerges here as a beacon of hope, I would say, in what I would call nowadays the VUCA times of war. We live in volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous times, VUCA times, with more warfare registered last year than ever since the Second World War finished. So which means that we need to work on a social tissue that delivers peaceful answers that through inclusive growth, shared prosperity, and community resilience can really give an answer to the complexities where we are now at. The cooperative movement is doing that every day. So as we launch today, the 12th edition of the World Cooperative Monitor, it serves therefore also as an action to stakeholders. And most importantly, it is a tangible evidence why it makes sense to again have an international year of cooperatives. The good news is that last November, the United Nations announced that this will be again the year, in this case, 2025. So this report, I'm sure, has a perfect timing, can feed in also in the decision-taking to the central theme of the International Year of Cooperatives. In closing, I extend my gratitude to all the cooperatives around the world who are already 2 centuries the heroes of economic and social progress. And of course, last comment, I wish to extend a special thanks to the team that has put a lot of work in this, from Euricse and ICA office, and also not to forget the sponsors, being our friends from India, from IFCO, and ISET, the Coop's own entrepreneurs think tank, for support. I thank you, and I wish you a very good afternoon. Back to you, Ilana.
Thank you so much, Jeroen, for those really inspiring and welcoming words. It's been a long partnership, and we're really excited about the cooperative, the 2025 year, and what that might bring for us. And thank you. So,
My pleasure.
as you mentioned, thanks. As you mentioned, the International Cooperative Entrepreneurial Think Tank is an important partner of the World Cooperative Monitor and sponsor, and we've been working with them over the last few years to produce some specific research within the World Cooperative Monitor, focusing on issues of particular importance to the cooperative movement, and also to those external to the movement as well. And one of those things, and as Jeroen Douglas mentioned, is really giving visibility to the cooperative difference. And so this year, together with ISET, we really wanted to look at and start exploring that a bit further, and look at what is it that cooperatives really provide for their members. Where is some of that? Where can we find some of that cooperative difference? So I'm really happy to welcome Hans Grunveld at this time. He is the chair of the ISET, and he's going to speak a little bit to what we've been what the ISET has been researching and delving into in terms of member benefits, and then introduce our two case studies that are with us today. So Hans, I'm turning it over to you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ilana, for your kind introductory words. Welcome to everybody all around the globe. It's very exciting to see so many participants here. Yes, so my intervention or my contribution, as it was announced, is a keynote address on corporate benefits. I would like to put the entire discussion on corporate benefits and value in a somewhat broader context, then you can actually see where it all fits in. I've prepared some slides. I try to put them on the screen right now so that you can follow me. Let me see if this is going to work. I don't know what you're seeing right now, but do you see the slides?
Now we do, yes.
Okay. So it's a combined meeting, so to speak, of, well, ISET is also a role, but also, of course, Euricse. So I'd like to say something about cooperative identity and benefits in the first place. So what is it all about? Why it's so important to focus on cooperative benefits? Well, first you have to know then that the cooperative identity, because cooperative benefits contribute to the expression of the cooperative identity, is very important in this respect. And it encompasses many different aspects. So the cooperative identity, as you can see here, is a kaleidoscopic thing, a multifaceted concept and phenomenon with many different aspects attached to this. It's very colorful and very strong and very bright, and also hopefully a distinguishing feature, the cooperative identity, in society and also to members, but also to non-members perhaps. But what does the cooperative identity actually constitute? Which elements are relevant in this respect? So I try to do this in a few minutes. The cooperative identity, what does it mean? Well, first of all, the cooperative identity, in my opinion, is not something internal for cooperatives. It's the expression of the cooperative nature in society. And the cooperative identity can be strengthened or weakened by many, many aspects. And all these aspects are, of course, interrelated. Well, first of all, what determines the strength or the weakness of the cooperative identity as perceived in society is, of course, the enabling environment. So is the familiarity with the cooperative nature and the cooperative principles, is that well known in society? Or is it an unknown organizational form? What about the regulatory environment and the popular perception towards cooperatives? Is there a positive connotation regarding cooperatives? Regulation also very important for all different sectors. Is it friendly or is it unfriendly for cooperatives? So all these elements are very important for the strength of the cooperative identity of cooperatives in society. I'll come back to this later on when I show you many more aspects to this in a somewhat more structured way. Another thing that contributes to the cooperative identity in society is, of course, the business model and strategy of cooperatives. So what kind of products and services do they provide to which client segments or member segments in society? What about the capitalization? What about serving non-members? All these elements, and do the products and services have perhaps cooperative modalities? Or do they provide the same products and services also to non-members? Anyway, this is also very important to have a very distinctive approach in this respect in terms of the business model and the business strategy of cooperatives. Then, of course, it's a question, well, who is determining this strategy and this business model? That has to do with the governance. So what is the role of grassroots members in the governance and the orientation of cooperatives? Do they really have a say? What about the Articles of Association? All these elements are very important as well. If it's not strong, if members don't have a say, they're voiceless or forced to become a member, then you can bet that the cooperative identity of this firm in society will be very weak and flimsy. It's also related to people working at cooperatives. They're doing the job on behalf of the members. So it's mainly about the executives. Do they really have an affinity with the firm where they are working? Or are they coming from, executives, from firms with other organizational forms. It's about the culture as well. It's about the incentives of the people working at cooperatives, in which direction they would like to steer the organization. And here again, do member representatives have a say in the employer's role of the executives that they appoint, yes or no? And what about the remuneration schemes? Are they similar compared to other firms with other organizational forms, or different because due to these factors that I just mentioned? Very important also, human resources policies, HR. Then, of course, what kind of benefits are you providing to members, but also member societies? The member value program. And this is really the topic of today. What are cooperative benefits? But you can see this is all connected with all the other elements insofar as how can cooperatives really produce and provide these benefits to society. That all the other elements should be in order, right? If members have a good say, have a strong say in the governance, you bet that they will focus on the way the firm is providing benefits to them and to society. If they have a weak voice in the governance, it could be the case that the member values, the member benefits aren't so big, aren't so large. And finally, of course, the corporate identity in the market, as perceived by everybody, including members, but also politicians, regulators, policymakers. It depends on to the extent that the cooperative firm as a whole is aligned with the cooperative principles. If this is all in place and it's all interconnected, then in the end, the corporate identity means that this firm is really different in society compared to the main competitors in the market. You have a good reputation, a good attitude, and you are appreciated in society. Now, these are just the logos or the pictures that showcase all the elements, and there are billions of elements that contribute to the corporate identity that deserve some further clarification. And in this respect, I think that we're never finished. Also, not as the think tank, I think we have work for the next 85 years to tackle all these different issues. Well, first of all, now you see the external enabling environment and the main components of this factor: awareness and familiarity. How is this? Is there education in the country regarding cooperatives? Yes or no? Do students learn about this? Education for members, but also for policymakers, regulators, national cooperative law, taxation laws. All these elements very important. I think this is really very important key prerequisite in order for a cooperative to be established and to flourish, actually. Then I mentioned already the activity, strategy, and business model, also consisting of many different elements. Capitalization, do you capitalize yourself via direct or indirect member capital, or do you depend also on external finances, which could complicate the governance then as well? All these elements must be taken into account and can strengthen or weaken the corporate identity. The governance, I already touched upon this as well. So what is in the articles of association of each cooperative? What are the rights and responsibilities of member representatives in the organization? Very strong on paper, and it's very material as well? Or is the cooperative nature and identity weakened because this articles of association will have been perhaps been adjusted, modified over time due to various developments, including perhaps regulation, having an impact also on the way corporates could function in particular areas and sectors as well. So what is the number of active members in the governance? Suppose you have a very big cooperative with 2 million members and just 5 members are really active in the governance. Well, then you think, well, is this really a cooperative? What about the cooperative identity? Is it very strong, yes or no? All these elements are important for the strength and the distinguishing aspect of the corporate identity. HR policies, employees and executives. Again, I'm going to repeat myself, but it's about leadership. And at cooperatives, the leaders of cooperatives must be fully aware of the fact that they are there on behalf of the members and they do their job on behalf of the members. They won't stay forever, so they are just there for a short period of time, and they should be really, feel like the custodian of the entire organization and the cooperative for the members. That means that you need to know how a cooperative is really working. Do you know what it means that there are members in the governance and not shareholders, for instance? That you have to listen to them, yes or no? Or do you think it's just an administrative burden, all these governance bodies with members? It's very important to look at the attitude of employees and executives at cooperatives as well. But because if you look at the history and you read many studies, you can see that, well, when do big co-ops or small co-ops fail? Well, one of the starting points, one of the early warning signals is that there are leaders in the cooperative that don't have any affinity with the model. So very important that members have a say as well in appointment of the executives. And of course, the remuneration is a difference. As you know, what are the incentives for the people working at cooperatives? Then the cooperative benefits, the member value and advantages. These are actually also the motives for membership, right? Apart from the possibility to be active in the governance, which could in itself also be an advantage of a cooperative, it's also about direct and indirect member benefits, financial benefits, special products, or is the cooperative providing benefits to members' communities, not just to individual members, but also to communities of members. And that's indeed related to the 7th cooperative principle, concern for sustainable development of the local working area, local environment, or member communities. Or perhaps cooperatives say, well, we have greater aspirations. We also want to contribute to the development in certain areas, or be front runner or initiator of discussions at the national level, or perhaps also at the international level. And if that's the case, that of course strengthens the cooperative identity in the market and among members and in society, and it creates a positive attitude and a positive reputation and image for the cooperative as such. And last but not least, adherence to these principles. If it's not the case, then, well, it's very difficult to express the cooperative identity or to build a brand according to this. That's also a very important aspect of the activities, strategy, and the business model. Do you really communicate about the fact that you're a cooperative? Do you use it in your marketing? And if so, it shouldn't just be PR talk, right? It should have content in terms of the other aspects. Anyway, you can see that it's all interrelated. And in the end, at the end of the day, we hope that all these elements reinforce each other, that there's not just one weak element which could jeopardize the entire cooperative nature, that you have a distinctive appreciation, perception, image, behavior, and reputation in society, the policy world, and the economic sector in which you're acting. And as I said, all these elements interact. When one of these boxes, well, isn't so strong, but it is actually the weakest part of the chain in order to really boost the cooperative identity, to strengthen it, or it could also work the other way around. So it's very important to pay attention to all these elements in conjunction. Now, let's focus on the topic of today on one of these boxes. Again, all related to the other boxes, like the governance. Are members really steering the cooperative towards producing and providing and offering cooperative benefits, yes or no? Do you have a strong voice? And are people working at cooperative executives really motivated and dedicated to deliver these cooperative benefits? And they could be punished for this in terms of governance, in terms of what's written down and enshrined in the Articles of Association. Then you can distinguish between several different cooperative benefits. And this is the special topic, as Ilana just mentioned, elaborated on, and we will come back to this later on. But basically, you can distinguish 4 different cooperative benefits: direct member benefits, financial benefits, rebates, patronage dividends, whatever, indirect member benefits, access to networks, information, services, you name it. Also in the digital world, I shouldn't forget about this. The collective benefit for members' local community. It's also giving something back to society. Many cooperatives do this in terms of, well, some kind of cooperative dividends or cooperative funds, or perhaps they have a separate association helping to establish cooperatives in other parts of the world as part of their, well, the identity and history. And benefits for society at large from a group perspective, perhaps contributing to to solving national issues, housing issues, issues regarding financial literacy, you name it. And well, actually, these are very important benefits, and this is what we've been focusing on in the IZ since last year. And this is also the special topic of the World Cooperative Monitor. And I have to emphasize that if we distinguish, we really try to collect, do some stock taking and inventory making of these cooperative benefits. It's important that these benefits are material, that you can really prove that you're providing these benefits. On your websites, in your annual reports, wherever. Otherwise, it should just be anecdotal evidence and perhaps self-congratulation, which is of course not helpful. It makes you incredible, and also, well, people really don't believe in fairy tales anymore. Now, before continuing, I would like to thank you for your attention, and well, I'll give the floor back to Ilana after this presentation of the global context, so to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Hans. That was great, and I can see from some of the questions that it's really some invaluable information for folks, and really a great way to get us started thinking about these issues, or not started, but anyway, continue to reflect on these issues and at least get us started today with our 2 case studies. I'd like to thank both Kelly Smith and Santosh Shukla for being here today. And thank you again, Hans, for this great introduction to the topic. So first, I would like to ask Kelly Smith from National Co-op Grocers in the United States to take the floor and tell us how NCG, what benefits NCG provides for its members. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Alana. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Good day to everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you and share some information about our co-op, National Co-op Grocers, and the benefits that we provide members, as well as the impacts that they are having on their communities. I wanted to start with a quick overview of NCG and how we got started. NCG is a national business services co-op for retail food co-ops located in the United States. The vast majority of our members are consumer-owned co-ops, while a few are consumer worker hybrids. We were started in 1999 by a group of regional associations who wanted to share resources and compete more effectively against the big corporate chains who were at that time entering the natural and organic food market, which is a focus of our co-ops in a pretty big way. In 2004, those regional groups agreed to disband in favor of a direct membership model. So today we have 161 members operating over 230 retail locations in 39 of the 50 states here in the US. Our co-ops serve 1.3 million consumer owners and their broader communities, and together have aggregate sales of $2.5 billion annually. Our members are all independently community-owned and governed co-ops, so NCG is not a chain, but we do strive to achieve the benefits of the chain by aggregating our volume and our activity while maintaining the autonomy and independence of our members at the local level. Our mission is to maximize our members' success, inclusivity, and impact, and to grow the cooperative grocery sector here in the United States in size and scope in an environmentally regenerative manner. So let's move to the benefits of membership. Our members are the only owners of NCG. Participation in our co-op is currently limited to retail food co-ops located in the US who also meet the requirements of our membership. Membership decisions are the purview of our board. When they join, members make an equity investment in our co-op that has 2 components: 1 voting share of common stock and a base capital contribution that is proportionate to sales, and that amount is recalculated every 3 years. Members also pay an annual dues that is proportionate to their sales up to our current cap. In return, our members have governance rights. They elect our board of directors, which is comprised of representatives from our members, and they have input on the direction of our co-op through that board. NCG uses a proportional voting system in the election of our board, and that decision was made by our founding members in order to balance the interests of members of different sizes. And so we split our members into large, medium, and small based on sales, and their proportional voting is 3-1. Some measures, such as the decision, if it were ever to be made, to dissolve our cooperative, and the amendment of some bylaws, require a dual ballot, which means that those measures must pass both on the proportional voting basis as well as on a one member, one vote basis. Our members have access, pretty much exclusive access, to all of NCG's programs and services on a voluntary basis, and I will run through a quick overview of those momentarily. Members are eligible for patronage distributions when our co-op has a surplus, and the decision to distribute any surplus, of course, is made by our board of directors. To date, we have paid out over $13 million in cash to our members, and then that represents on average about 20% of the declared patronage. In terms of our programs and services, we operate like a traditional purchasing co-op in many ways. We act as a member agent, and we negotiate contracts with suppliers to save our members money on the products that they sell to consumers, as well as the products or services that they use in their operations. One of the ways that we maximize savings on some of those contracts is by guaranteeing payables at the national level, and our members agree to share liability for those purchases. Many of our purchasing programs result in direct benefits both to our members as well as to their consumer owners. And so, for example, our national purchasing contract helps our members to save money on the products that they buy to sell to consumers, helps them to offer lower priced products to their shoppers on an everyday basis. And then we have complementary promotional programs that help our co-op shoppers save even more money on select products through a biweekly sales flyer, and NCG negotiates and manages that program on behalf of our members. But our work goes well beyond purchasing functions. We have a retail support team that helps our members to navigate NCG's programs and services and determine which ones are right for them through a dedicated resource manager on a one-to-one basis. Our retail support team also supports our co-ops with individual initiatives such as business improvement projects or expansion projects. We also have a subsidiary development co-op, which is wholly owned by NCG, and that organization is currently focused on innovation and really finding ways to improve food access in communities with low income and low access to healthy foods. In terms of peer networking and talent development, we support our members through a variety of activities, including national and regional meetings and online discussion forums for resource sharing and information sharing. We have an online learning library that offers over 200 courses. We hold professional development conferences every year to help our member staff learn and grow in their careers. In the areas of cooperation, advocacy, and sustainability, we participate in or collaborate with many organizations, including ICA, and ISET, as well as our National Cooperative Business Association here in the United States, and many other cooperative organizations. We advocate on a variety of topics based on advocacy guidelines that are developed with input from a member advisory committee. You can see that list here. We use those guidelines to inform not only NCG's operations, but also to help us drive progress in the broader public sector. So through education of our members and consumers, through federal policy lobbying of our legislators, and through the funding of partner organizations who are engaged in similar work. And we funded over $700,000 of that activity with partner organizations in 2022. In the area of sustainability, we help our members to track their social impacts through an online tool, and I'll show you some of those results here in a moment. In terms of operational and marketing support, we offer quite a long list of services, just some of which are listed here, and they cover both front-end operations and what it takes to run a grocery store from the perspective of shoppers, as well as through admin and back office support. We also do conduct some direct-to-consumer activities, such as campaigns, direct mail, couponing, etc. Right now, we are putting a lot of focus on a new initiative that we call Next Level. And that initiative really aims to increase the adoption of common business systems and technology among our co-op members who, as I mentioned, are autonomous and independent and started at various points in time. And as a result, started with different systems. Our goal here is really to further reduce costs and free up capacity at our member stores so that they can focus on those areas that really make them unique. So we're not all, recreating the same wheel 161 times. So let's get to our impact. One of the ways that we measure ourselves in terms of organizational effectiveness is through our member satisfaction survey. And we conduct this survey every 2 years. Our last survey reported really high overall satisfaction at the top 2-box level, which we are always, of course, pleased to see. It's not to say that we don't always have opportunity to improve. We certainly do. And while the survey gives us some insight into our progress in delivering benefits to our members, the primary way that we measure success is by how successful our co-ops are at the local level. We are not yet large enough to be included in the World Cooperative Monitor, but we have developed our own food co-op impact report. The first one was actually done in conjunction with the first International Year of Cooperatives in 2012, but we have developed this report annually since 2017. And it summarizes the ways that our co-ops create positive impacts in their communities, either directly or through participation in NCG, really with a focus on those direct impacts. I am going to quickly hit some of the highlights, but you can find this full report on our consumer website at the link that you see here on the slide. So keeping it local, supporting local economies is really important to our members, and the average food co-op participating in NCG sells $5.6 million of local products annually, working with 281 local farms and producers. Co-ops also are supporting farm-to-school programs to bring fresh food to schools in all 50 states through their participation in NCG. Our co-ops are working to make good food more affordable to more people. I mentioned the work that we're doing in the development co-op. Our promotional program saves shoppers of their co-op an average of 25% on the products that go through the biweekly flyer that are mentioned. All of our co-ops are participating in a controlled label program that we manage called Co-op Basics, and that offers co-op shoppers everyday low prices on staple grocery and other products that they buy at their co-op. Over 40% of our members are offering needs-based discount programs to shoppers in their community, and that's a number that we obviously would love to see increase. Our co-ops are working to support stronger and more just communities in many ways. The average co-op working in their community is donating nearly $150,000 to local community groups. Through NCG, our members helped raise over $130,000 in 2022 to support the organizing efforts of Black-led food co-ops to help those communities have better access to healthy food and to really take back some of the ownership of food systems. That money was raised to help organizing efforts through the National Black Food and Justice Alliance. Our members also helped fund an additional $50,000 in startup support to other communities through the Food Co-op Initiative, which is another cooperative organization here in the US. Our co-ops are working to support a safe, just, and more inclusive supply chain and to promote products that really uphold the dignity of workers. Our members are selling significantly more values-driven products than other retail grocers. For example, the things that we track shown on this slide, we are selling almost twice as much fair trade certified products as other natural grocers and 10 times as much as conventional grocers. We sell about 10% more B Corp certified products compared to natural grocers and 4 times as much as conventional grocers. And we sell twice as much cooperatively produced products, go co-ops, as natural grocers and 6 times as much as conventional grocers. Being attractive employers is obviously important to us. The average co-op at NCG is employing 110 people, with 58% of those folks eligible for healthcare benefits from their co-op. And I'm sorry to say that we don't have a national healthcare system yet in the United States. 64% of our co-ops are contributing to their workers' retirement plans. And I already mentioned our online learning system, which makes professional development courses and opportunities available to all of our member staff, regardless of their position in their organization. As with the World Cooperative Monitor, we sometimes are not able to get as much information or as much participation from our members as we would like, but we really believe that you can only move what you measure, and we will continue to help our co-ops track and measure the areas that we believe are important to our success. I certainly would encourage those of you who are asked to participate in the World Cooperative Monitor to really make that a priority in terms of participation and information sharing. And I would encourage those smaller organizations like NCG to develop your own systems to collect similar data. This information on the benefits that you offer to your members and the impacts that you're making in your broader society are really important to the cooperative sector and to growing the cooperative economy in your countries and throughout the world. That brings me to the end of my presentation. I'm not sure if we have time for questions today. I am more than happy to take them by email. My address is shown here on the slide. Thank you very much for the time and attention, and I will turn it back over to Ilana and Santosh. Thank you.
Kelly, thank you so very much. That was wonderful, and can't not thank you for the plug for the World Cooperative Monitor data collection as well, which we'll be hearing from Paola Del Vecchio later, and she knows quite well the struggle with data collection. So thank you for that, and thank you for sharing all of this information. About questions, we've now also opened the chat, so there's some questions coming through on both the Q&A and the chat, and I invite all of our speakers to have a look at those and see if there's any. I saw, Kelly, there were a couple that came in that were specifically asking about NCG or consumer cooperatives. So if any of our speakers today would like to jump in and respond to any of the questions, please go ahead and do that. Thank you so much again. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to Santosh Shukla from IFCO, who's going to tell us about member benefits in his cooperative. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliana, and I welcome you all of you. First of all, Namaskar from India. Let me share my screen. Okay, Joseph is already sharing. Yeah, so starting with IFCO. IFCO is established in 1967 with only 57 member cooperatives. Now we are having more than 35,500 member cooperatives. We are basically a national level cooperative. So individual membership is not permissible for us. So only the cooperatives can be our member. So indirectly, if you see, we are having 50 million farmers as indirect members through our member cooperatives. We are basically in the agriculture sector and we are producing fertilizer. And right now, if you see the contribution of fertilizer sharing, so we are contributing 32% of nitrogenous fertilizer and 21.3 of nitrogen and 32.1 phosphatic fertilizer is contributed by IFCO to our nation. And our ultimate aim is to serve the farmers. And for that, we IFCO has signed 21 joint ventures and subsidiaries just to serve farmers in all across India. We are having overseas presence in Jordan, in Dubai, in Oman, in Senegal. IFCO's joint ventures are there just related to our activities. As I said, IFCO is formed in 1967-68 with 57 members, but now we are having 35,600. This is the figure. And our members are basically, we follow cooperative principle, one member, one vote principle. So irrespective of the equity by member cooperatives, they have one voting rights. So our share capital is right now, it is 630 Indian rupees, 630 crore. And we are producing and marketing fertilizers. Our turnover is more than 60,324 crores this year. In India, IFCO is having 5 manufacturing plants in different states and having different capacity. You can see the slide here. This is manufacturing facilities, and we sell all across India our fertilizer products only through cooperative societies, which are our members. If you see, our membership is open to all cooperatives who are in agriculture sector and in fertilizer business. So our most of the cooperative members, they are village level cooperative societies, more than 32,000. We are having district level cooperatives, around 2,500 members, and multi-state, which are running or doing their business more than one state. There are more than 200 such member societies. We take very minimum application fee. From village level cooperative, we take only 25 rupees as a membership fee. And for other societies, we take 100 rupees as membership fee. There are different cooperative structure in India, from village level to district level and then state level, some of the federations, and then multi-state levels. So all this is these are our marketing channels. These members, they take fertilizers from directly from IFCO or through their federation, and finally they reach to the farmers. IFCO is having bylaws. As per the bylaws, because our membership base is more than 1,000, so Cooperative Act, our National Cooperative Act, Multi-State Cooperative Act, it gives provision to form a representative general body, which is having the complete power of general body. So we are having 1,000 members in our general body, and finally they elect 21 board of directors. And board of directors, they elect chairman and vice chairman. So finally, the democracy is completely there in IFCO, and we follow the membership democratic control for all kind of our decisions as business as well as for the governance. We take the democratic decisions taken by the board and from the general body. IFCO is having record that since last 21 years, IFCO is paying 20% dividend to all its members. And there is a fund, this is called, it is a dividend equalization fund. where we have kept provision for next 25 years, we will pay 20% dividend to our members. Such provision has been already made through our leadership. Now come to the other benefits other than the dividend, what we do for our members as per the topic given to me. IFCO is basically serving to the farmers through our cooperative members. So initially, we have created our joint ventures just to meet the requirement of the farmers. So first requirement was to get insurance by our farmers. So what we have done, we have created joint ventures along with the Tokyo General Insurance Company. That is called IFCO Tokyo General Insurance. And now, along with the selling of our product, we give them automatically insurance, life insurance, accidental insurance to that farmer who is purchasing our product. Rupees 1 lakh is he is insured at the time of purchase. He need not to take any insurance policy separately. It is clubbed with our product. Similarly, the second thing is we are having one IFCO Kisan Seva Trust. This is a trust maintained by the employee of IFCO as well as the management of IFCO. From our annual profit, some percentage of the profit goes to this trust. What we do here, this trust is supporting basically it is formed to support the member cooperatives as well as to the rural India during natural calamities like floods, droughts, cyclones, earthquakes. Later on, the scholarship scheme we have started. This scheme is basically for the member cooperatives. If any son or daughter of any member of member cooperative has to do higher education and he is not able to finance that education, so we provide a scholarship through this IFCO Kisan Seva Trust. Along with the scholarship, we also provide medical facility to these members. In case of any hospitalization, we pay directly to the hospitals once we get application from that member cooperatives. So this is a big relief to our members, and all across India, members are getting benefited from this trust. Other than this trust activity, IFCO provides training to its members. We are having Cooperative Rural Development Trust. Here we invite farmers from all across country as well as from the neighboring countries like Nepal, Sri Lanka, or last time some delegation from Kazakhstan were also visited. So we do training to those farmers, and they get the hands-on experience how to use the soil, how to treat the soil, and how to go for the soil testing. We do free soil testing in the lab situated there in the Cordet. So they test their soil of the farmer's field, and they educate farmers what is the deficiency in the soil and what kind of nutrients or what kind of fertilizer they should use. Instead of using one kind of fertilizer, we just say don't use more fertilizer, more chemical fertilizer. Go for the organic and use the balanced fertilizer. So if you see the figure, in last 3 years, we have done 71,000 farmers, including women, for the testing, and more than 2 lakhs soil testing have been done in last few years. We have made Farmers Friend Club. This is a WhatsApp group. So this group is just to provide awareness about the latest technology, about the latest related to crop and other fertilizer related information. So this WhatsApp group is having now it is reaching to the village level farmers. So they are getting the information related to the Ministry of Cooperation, government initiatives, the schemes, and they are just getting into it and taking benefit out of it. So this is also providing a good help to our members. Other than this, what we do, we arrange delegate visit program. Delegates means our this RGB members of one state, they visit to the other state and they learn the good thing from the cooperatives who are doing better. So we arrange their visit to those cooperatives and they get the good information. So it is a kind of knowledge sharing. In this way, they share their knowledge. The good thing of one cooperative is going to the other cooperative for getting knowledge of best knowledge we are just inculcating to others. IFCO, just to fulfill the policy of cooperation among cooperative, we have created some cooperative. Just IFFDC is one of the subsidiary. It is also a multi-state cooperative, Indian Farm Forestry Development Cooperative. So this is basically involved on converting the barren land into the fertile land or the forest area we are developing with the good quality of neem plants they are providing. They are just increasing the generating the revenue of that area, the tribes of that area, or the members or farmers of that area who are not able to get revenue from other source, so they get benefit from the tree plantation. Similarly, now the export cooperative and the seeds cooperative, two new cooperatives have been formed by Government of India. So we are also promoting these two cooperatives as a prime promoter. And we are just associating other cooperative who are having product which are of export quality. So in this way, we are just supporting our members to associate with this. Other than this, IFCO provides technical and financial assistance to our member cooperative in different states if they demand some kind of support, technical support. So for their computerization, for their creation of their warehouse, IFCO is always ahead, and we are using our cooperative welfare fund for assisting our members and other cooperatives of the state. IFCO is just signing MOUs and agreement with other training and research institute, because we feel that any research or technical innovation should go to the rural part also, not only to the research institute. So we have signed memorandum with multiple agencies for getting the good quality of seeds, good quality of plants, and we are taking that to the rural area through our member cooperatives. For this, recently we have signed MOU with two training institute. They are just providing the cooperative education. One in Gujarat, that is Institute of Rural Management, situated in Anand, and other one in Bhubaneswar. This is in Odisha state. So what we are doing, we are just collecting the data from small cooperatives of all across India, just to analyze that data, how we can make these cooperatives more sustainable and more profit or their sustainability can be generated, and so the community can get overall benefit out of it. So this survey is going on all across India, and hopefully we will get the result in 2-3 months, and then we will take action how to strengthen the cooperative model of India. Our all policies and programs are aimed at providing best services to farmers and sustainable development of community. So what IFCO is doing, we are adopting villages, and in that village, we just run our exhibition program, and then extension services, Save the Soil campaign, and similar programs. So the awareness and the knowledge and technical upliftment of the members are getting to the rural population. IFCO is always believe in the contribution and help of not only government, but also to the cooperatives. So last time during COVID, IFCO has contributed rupees 25 crores to Prime Minister Cares Fund. That time during COVID period, oxygen shortage was there in India, and all countries were facing such problems. So in the short duration, IFCO has made 4 medical oxygen plants in our country during that tough time. And what we have decided, to all the hospitals and government hospitals and hospitals which are run by the cooperatives, we have provided free oxygen cylinders. And that time oxygen was very much essential in the country. And IFCO has not only contributed in other health care activities, but also we have provided oxygen to the needy people that time. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is just initiated by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, just to keep the India clean. So IFCO is also contributing through our member cooperatives. We have contributed some funds also for that Abhiyan. And similarly, financial assistance is provided in relief funds during natural calamities. Recently, in one of the state in the northeast of India, Sikkim, we have provided some contribution through their Chief Minister Relief Fund. I have already covered this IFCO Kisan Seva Trust last time. In my previous slide, I have covered it. Please. This IFFDC, this is the IFCO subsidiary. What they are doing, they are creating self-help groups. Self-help group is just the group of the women's, and we are doing a skill development program for them to produce some handloom works or some other products. And what we encourage them, just we provide the platform to sell their product in cities and even in national capital, in our offices. We sell their products, so they get money from their selling of their products. So this self-help groups, so far we have created around 1896 self-help groups, and 20,000 members we have associated with this self-help groups. So this is also very helpful for the rural India. Similarly, IFCO Kisan Suvidha Limited, one of our subsidiary, so they are making cattle feed for the farmers and for our member cooperatives. So they are doing this cattle feed business, and they are earlier the green SIM card was provided to our members just to give the information related to weather, climate change, or for their crop, for their other fertilizers and other things was provided. And Kisan call center, Kisan means farmers, we call farmers Kisan here. Kisan's call center was operated here in India since 2012, and many calls and we were answering the doubts of the farmers through this. Now come to the latest innovation done by the IFCO. Now we are asking our members or to farmers just to shift from the chemical fertilizer to the organic fertilizer. In this context, now IFCO has invented a new product, that is nano fertilizer. So 45 kg bag of urea or 50 kg bag of DAP is being replaced by only 500 ml of liquid nano fertilizers. This is an invention in our Nano Biotech Research Center lab situated here in India. Now we are just educating farmers and to use nano and just reduce the use of chemical fertilizers. So it is going to be hit. It is launched by our Prime Minister in 2022. And presently, after the trial in more than 70,000 fields all across India, now the government has entered this nano in the FCO, Fertilizer Control Order of, this is Gazette of Government of India. And now it is just drone, we are just distributing drone through our cooperative members and through women entrepreneurship in the rural India to promote the uses of nano fertilizers, because a drone is a new thing for rural India. If you see here the picture, 45 kg bag is being replaced by 500 ml bottle. So this actually the urea or fertilizer, the solid fertilizer, normally the 30% or 20 or 30% fertilizer is being used by the plant. Rest 70% is going to the soil, and it is causing pollution. Environment, it is not. This is not good for the environment for long run. So this nano is basically, it is sprayed on the leaves of the plant, and 90% of the product is used by the plants, and wastage is only 10%. So it will the soil and water and air pollution will be reduced. So we are just promoting 5 plants for for producing nano bottles is being set up in India, and now we are having around 32 countries. Different countries are approaching us for this nano product, and trial is going on in many countries. Let us hope that future is environment friendly nano, and we are promoting it. Thank you so much to ICIT, and thank you to Euricse.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Santosh. This was a really excellent way to learn more about IFCO and its activities and all of its benefits to members. There's so many questions and comments coming through the chat, so I remind our speakers to have a look and see if any of them pertain to you. To answer one of the most common questions coming through, we will have the video of this webinar on the Monitor website. We will also, if the speakers agree, we'll be sending around the PowerPoints. So please don't worry, we'll get you all of the information. And thank you again to all of our speakers and to all of our participants. We have arrived at the time, finally, to launch our 12th edition of the World Cooperative Monitor. I'm really pleased to have Paola Del Vecchio here. She's a researcher at Euricse. We also have, following along behind the scenes, our other key researchers on the project, Chiara Carini from Euricse and Young-Sik from the ICA. So thank you to all of the team. And I am going to turn it over to Paola now to present this year's results and highlights and data from this year's 2023 World Cooperative Monitor. Thanks, Paola.
Thank you, Ilana. Welcome to everyone. I'm really pleased and glad to see so many people interested in this launch. And so thank you. Thank you, Joseph. So as I said, I'm Paola Del Vecchio, and I research in Euricse. I work on the data collection for this project, both for the economic member and employee data, and also for the thematic chapter that this year is focused on cooperative member benefits. So with this project, we collect data from different sources. We collect data mainly from annual reports, sustainability reports, financial statements, but also we collect data using already present national rankings, databases, and online databases and private databases. We produce two top 300, one based on the turnover and one based on the turnover over GDP per capita. Moreover, we present also sectorial rankings for each sector of activity. For this edition, we collected data referring to 2021 fiscal year. And as you can see in the next chapter, the top 300 based on turnover produced a turnover of almost 2.5 thousands of billions. And the 37% of the organization in the top 300 based on turnover had a turnover between 2 and 5 billion American dollars. Then looking a little bit deeper, you will see in the next slide, exactly, thank you, that the top 300, we analyzed these organizations by economic activities and by type. Almost the 70% of the organization in the top 300 are agricultural and insurance ones. And in relation of the type, almost the 70% of the top 300 is composed by producer and mutual organizations. Here, next, you're going to see the geographical distribution. The organization are mainly from the north of America, Europe, and the north of Europe, and also from Japan. Specifically, we have 40 organizations that are based on in Asia Pacific region, 166 from Europe, and 94 from both North and South America. Here you can see the top 10 of the top 300 based on turnover. At the podium, we have 2 French organizations that are also financial and consumer user ones, and one from Germany that is a wholesale and retail trade organization. As I said before, we produced 2 top 300 turnover. 2 top 300. The first one is based on the turnover, and the second one is based on turnover over GDP per capita. In the next slide, you see the top 10 of these top 300, and it's a little bit different in respect of the top 10 just seen. For example, at the podium, you can see 2 Indian cooperatives, IFCO and Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation. And at the third place, you see Group Crédit Agricole, that it was in the top, at the first place in the top 10 of the first of the top 300 ranking. Here there are 2 agricultural cooperatives and 1 banking. Then for this report, we have decided to have a thematic chapter, about cooperative member benefits, and we decided to follow and to analyze 2 aspects. One was related to the cooperative identity, and the other was related to the member benefits. We collected data looking at the websites of the sample. The sample was composed by the top 10 sectoral rankings, both by turnover and by turnover over GDP per capita of the WCM 22 edition. And we had 76 organizations, and we analyzed their website, and what we discovered is that in fact 80% of the sample directly states their identity through these 4 main areas. So they directly said with clear statements such as we are a cooperative, we are a mutual, and following the principles and the values of the cooperative movement, or even stating about their history. So they present themselves as a cooperative by going through their history and from their origin. But also they express their belonging to the cooperative movement by their activity themselves. So they express the fact that they decided to become a cooperative or a mutual because they wanted to do a specific type of activity, and they found the cooperative movement as the perfect choice for their activity. But also they presented the fact that they belong to the cooperative movement by the structure, explaining how they are composed, how they make decisions, and how they are how they can, basically how they are composed. Then we decide to look at the member benefits, and we found we distinguish between tangible and intangible member benefits. So the tangible ones are related to the ones that can be concretely that are concretely visible, that can be something that is directly experienced, such as economic advantages or services and products, but also intangible. So all the benefits that are not detectable immediately, such as participation and contribution to the community. Looking at the first one, looking at tangible benefits, we distinguish the benefits related to the business activity and the benefits non-related to the business activity of the cooperative in specific. So looking at the first ones, we saw that cooperatives and mutuals sold or both high quality services and products with a competitive cost, or they provide educational programs or educational training to their members. For example, IFCO and NCG today present the fact that for the farmers, they have some educational programs to help the farmers to be more aware of the technologies, or be more aware or be more updated with the new strategies in order to be more competitive in the market. Then there are the additional services, such as services to products sold or both from partners at a competitive price. Some non-business related services, such as insurance services, funeral services, but also consulting services and education and training programs that are not related to the business, such as, for example, there were cases in which the cooperative has some banking services or insurance services, or even some educational program dedicated to under 35 for the under 35 related to the risk investments services, to educate how to avoid the high risk, or how to manage high risk investments. Then looking into the intangible benefits, we discovered that, of course, we know that cooperatives and mutuals are organizations that are based on the fact that they are owned by the members. So participation itself is a benefit for the members. In fact, that indeed they can actively contribute to the activity of the organization, and they have a say in their cooperative. So there is a democratic governance structure, and they have the right of election, meaning they can be elected or electing the board, the people in the board of directors, or even from the leadership entities. But they also can decide to create a committee or a council to monitor the cooperative and mutual activity. Then there is something that is even less tangible than the participation. So something that is even sometimes very hard to detect as a member benefit is a sharing knowledge. So cooperative share the knowledge. They create a network between members, and they can also provide information within the members. And the cooperatives also offer cooperative education programs and representation service. And speaking of sharing knowledge, with this project, with the WCM 2023, but for these 12 editions of of the WCM, we wanted to share knowledge. With this project, we are sharing knowledge about cooperative movement, and we thanks to the help of all the people, all the organizations, cooperatives, and representatives that help us collecting data, we are constructing the data set. But you can help us too. How you can help us in collecting more data? You can simply send us your data we have a specific email, monitor@monitor.com, in which you can send us your data, your financials and the financial reports, the sustaining reports, but also you can contact us if you're interested in create national or regional rankings, and we can help you with the methodology and help you step by step. So it's really important to share and spread the word, because we are collecting data about the world's biggest cooperatives, but every single data we collect is important, and especially as Hans and as Jeroen said at the beginning, this report is one of a kind. So if you want to know more, please find our full report and the methodology at monitor.com. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Paola. Thank you so much. That's great. And the Monitor this year's report is now available online. So you can go onto the website and view it as of now. I'd like to invite Gianluca Salvatori, the Secretary General of Euricse, to give us some concluding remarks. Please, Gianluca, the floor is yours. Gianluca, we can't hear you. No? Can't hear you. No. Okay, one moment from Gianluca. I'll take advantage of the pause to remind our speakers about the questions. And if any of our speakers would like to share again their email addresses in the chat, the organizers have asked me if that's possible. And I see there's a lot of emails and networking going on in the chat, and it's really, really lovely to see and so great to have all of you here with us from all around the world today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, welcome back.
Sorry for that. Thank you, Ilana, and thank you to all participants in this meeting, in this initiative. I would like to use these final few minutes, really a few minutes, for a general reflection. I believe that cooperatives sit on a gold mine, but do not know that they are sitting on a gold mine. We know that they are people-based enterprises. They are governed by their members, they're serving their communities. So they potentially have knowledge like few others of the context in which they operate. In their hands, the cooperatives hold the keys to accurately interpreting the needs of their members, of their customers, of their workers. So if they are cooperatives consistent with their mission, then their relationship with people is necessarily close and deep. Consequently, they can spontaneously draw from this relationship a detailed knowledge of the realities which they are immersed. Because it is in the direct interest of the members, of the users of cooperatives, to transmit and increasingly accurate knowledge of their needs and their expectations. To be clear, in order to obtain the same level of knowledge, a corporation, an ordinary corporation, a for-profit corporation, is obliged to resort to gimmicks, to expensive surveys. In order to profile the customers, a traditional company has to retain them with techniques, persuasive techniques, or must buy data from specialized companies, which in turn obtain those data from digital platforms, social media, to which we entrust ever larger portions of our lives. A corporation has to pay for knowledge that a cooperative can obtain spontaneously, naturally. This has been to see in the context of an economy that today is increasingly about data. Data is the most wanted good because it affects the success or failure of companies and activities. We live in an era where data is the main factor of competitiveness, and the entire economic systems depend on it. Why I'm saying this? Because I believe that in this scenario, we should ask ourselves whether the cooperative world is aware that it is sitting on a gold mine. And considering this question from the perspective of those who produce the monitor, from our perspective as researchers, from the Euricse perspective, the answer is no. Globally, the cooperative movement has not yet truly embraced the importance of committing to producing quality data. The power of a global movement like this movement, which could generate sophisticated knowledge of the economic behavior and social motivations of billions of individuals, practically down to every geographic area, to every country, does not yet translate into an investment in its own knowledge potential. The potential of cooperation is much higher, much larger. As you may have guessed, I'm using the World Cooperative Monitor as a pretext. I want to point out a problem and an opportunity at the same time. There is a need to bring cooperatives face to face with the topic of the data economy. That's the point. We need an ambitious program to spread the culture of data within the cooperative world. It is necessary to make people understand its usefulness to better develop the economic and social mission of the cooperatives. We must abandon the idea that all this is just a secondary issue, something to be dealt with when we have time, or when there is nothing more urgent to do. We must recognize that it is the very essence of a modern and effective business practice. Over the past 12 years, since we began producing the World Cooperative Monitor, we have fought to uphold a simple concept. Cooperatives must make an effort to know themselves better, to know their members better, to know their communities better. And they must do this by exploiting the unique characteristic of being a global movement, present all over the world, which allows to compare experiences, compare trends, to exchange analysis, to exchange knowledge. Many cooperatives have a specific, a singular attitude to work with data, but we need to understand the multiplying effect, the multiplying value of data that everyone collects locally, but they share globally. And that's, I mean, the logic, the philosophy of the monitor and all the work that is behind. Now, as you know, we are once again on the verge of celebrating an International Year of Cooperation. The monitor was born on the occasion of the previous one in 2012. At that moment, the goal, the ICA, the Euricse goal, was to demonstrate that the cooperative model can produce great business, great initiatives with millions of members, millions of users. The aim was to declare that cooperation is not marginal, not residual. It was both a proud claim and the premise to initiate a reflection on the role of cooperation on a global scale. Well, today, 12 years later, we cannot simply repeat this message. We need to do something more, to engage ourselves in a task that is more complicated. The challenge of the coming International Year is to demonstrate that cooperation is also capable of asserting its role in this new scenario, in a scenario of the knowledge and data economy. The cooperatives can enhance their model as enterprises of people and for the people, also in this field, in the economy of data. Well, this was the reflection I want to share with you to conclude our meeting. I thank, of course, all of you, all the participants, the speakers, the listeners. I thank ICA, I thank ISET, I thank HIFCO for the trust they have placed in Euricse over all these years. And I conclude with the hope not only to continue the work of the monitor, but to expand it, to strengthen the family of products based on quality data and aim at a better understanding of the cooperative reality. And I want to say that our knowledge, our methods, our know-how are at the disposal of those who would like to join us in this work. And so I sincerely hope that you will support this endeavor. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gianluca. Definitely, you've left us with some words to think about, reflect on, and most importantly, to act on, I would say. So thank you very much to you. Thank you again. I'm not going to repeat the very nice and complete list that Gianluca just gave us of everyone who is involved in this webinar today. But really, thank you so much. Thank you to all the behind the scenes organizers as well. And please go and have a look at the monitor on the website. And as Paula mentioned, send us your information, your data. If your questions weren't answered today, please feel free to write to us at monitor@monitor.coop. Or I saw the speakers have left their email addresses in the chat as well. So you can reach all of us, and all of the materials will be sent around. They'll be on the website, so don't worry, we'll do that. And with this, we can conclude the launch of the 2023 World Cooperative Monitor. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us. Thank you.